My beloved child, if I showed you the one sin holding you back from my peace, would you be willing to let it go? Listen carefully. Do not look away, because today I am going to reveal what your heart has been trying to ignore. And when you finally face the truth, you will discover that my forgiveness is greater than your greatest mistake. My beloved child, many people believe their greatest sin is something obvious. They think it is found only in their actions, only in the mistakes they regret, only in the failures they wish they could erase. But often, the sin that causes the deepest damage is the one that quietly takes root in the heart. It grows in secret. It hides behind excuses. It disguises itself as something harmless. And because of this, many never recognize it until it has already stolen their peace. I want you to examine your heart with me today, not with fear, not with shame, but with honesty. Have you allowed pride to convince you that you no longer need my guidance? Have you allowed anger to live in your heart longer than it should? Have you allowed unforgiveness to become a prison for your soul? Have you allowed jealousy to steal your gratitude? Have you allowed fear to become greater than your faith? These things may seem small when they first appear, but over time they begin to shape the way you think, the way you speak, the way you live, the way you see yourself, and most importantly, the way you see me. The enemy rarely destroys a life in a single moment. Instead, he works little by little. One compromise, one excuse, one hidden struggle at a time. That is why I am speaking to you now. Not because I want to expose you, but because I want to free you. My child, there are things you have asked me to change in your life, blessings you desire, doors you want opened, peace you long to experience. Yet before I deal with what is around you, I often begin with what is within you, because the greatest battle is not always outside. The greatest battle is often inside the heart. And today, I am inviting you to stop running from that battle. Stop pretending everything is fine. Stop carrying burdens that I never asked you to carry. Stop hiding wounds that I already know exist. Nothing about you is hidden from me. I know every thought, every fear, every regret, every secret tear, and still, I love you. Still, I call you my child. Still, I have not turned away from you. The world may define you by your worst moment, but I do not. The enemy may remind you of your failures, but I remind you of my mercy. Others may see your mistakes, but I see the person you can become through my grace. That is why this message is not about condemnation. It is about restoration. Not punishment, but healing. Not rejection, but redemption. And before this day ends, I want you to understand something that could change your life forever. No sin is stronger than my forgiveness. No failure is greater than my mercy. And no mistake is beyond my power to redeem. My beloved child, there is a reason some struggles remain in your life longer than others. It is because the sins that are easiest to overcome are often the ones you clearly recognize. But the sins that quietly remain are the ones you have learned to justify. You tell yourself it is not that serious. You tell yourself everyone does it. You tell yourself there is nothing wrong. And little by little, your heart becomes comfortable with something that was never meant to stay. That is why I ask you today to be honest with yourself, not with excuses.
not with explanations, with honesty.
How often have you held on to resentment while asking me for peace? How often have you judged others while asking me for mercy? How often have you worried endlessly while claiming to trust me? How often have you allowed fear to guide decisions that should have been guided by faith? My child, these are not questions meant to shame you. They are questions meant to awaken you. Because many people spend years asking me to change their circumstances while refusing to let me change their hearts. They ask for new blessings while holding on to old chains. They pray for freedom while protecting the very thing that keeps them bound. And then they wonder why they feel distant from me.
I do not speak these words to accuse you. I speak them because I want something better for you. I want you to experience the freedom that comes from surrender, the peace that comes from honesty, the joy that comes from living in the light instead of hiding in the shadows. My child, you do not have to pretend with me. You do not have to hide behind a mask. You do not have to act stronger than you really are. I already know every weakness. I already know every struggle. I already know every secret battle.
And I loved you before you ever confessed a single one of them. Think about that for a moment. Before you asked for forgiveness, I knew. Before you felt guilty, I knew. Before you cried out for help, I knew. And still, I chose to love you. Still, I chose to pursue you. Still, I chose to call you my child. That is the difference between my voice and the voice of the enemy. The enemy points to your sin and says, "You are unworthy."
I point to your sin and say, "Come closer." The enemy says, "Hide from God." I say, "Run to me." The enemy says, "You will never change." I say, "With me, all things are possible." Do not believe the lie that you have gone too far. Do not believe the lie that your failures have permanently defined you. Do not believe the lie that forgiveness belongs to everyone except you. Those lies do not come from me. My child, the moment you stop defending your sin is the moment healing can begin. The moment you stop justifying it is the moment freedom can enter. The moment you bring it into the light is the moment its power begins to break. That is why I brought you here today.
Not to expose you before others, not to humiliate you, but to remind you that there is still a path forward. There is still hope, there is still grace, and there is still forgiveness waiting for you. No matter how many times you have fallen, no matter how many promises you have broken, no matter how many times you told yourself you would do better and then failed again, I have not given up on you. I have not abandoned you, and I am not finished with your story. My beloved child, if you are willing to be honest with me, I am ready to begin a new chapter in your life.
My beloved child, perhaps the hardest thing for you to believe is not that I exist. Perhaps the hardest thing is believing that I still love you after everything you have done. You know your failures. You remember your mistakes. You can recall the moments you wish had never happened. There are memories you try to forget, words you wish you could take back, decisions you wish you could undo. And sometimes those memories return in the quiet moments, reminding you of who you used to be. The enemy uses them as weapons. He whispers that you are too broken, too guilty, too far gone, too unworthy. But listen carefully to me now.
If your mistakes were stronger than my mercy, there would be no hope for anyone. If your failures were greater than my love, no one could be saved. If your past had the power to cancel my grace,
then grace would not be grace at all. My child, I knew every mistake you would make before you were even born. I knew every weakness, every failure, every struggle. And yet I still chose to love you. I still chose to call you. I still chose to pursue your heart. That is how great my love is. The cross was never for perfect people. The cross was for sinners, for the broken, for the weary, for those who knew they needed mercy. And that includes you.
You do not need to earn my forgiveness. You do not need to become perfect before you come to me. You do not need to clean yourself up before you ask for my help. Come as you are. Come with your questions. Come with your regrets. Come with your weakness. Come with your wounds. Bring everything to me. Nothing you confess will surprise me. Nothing you reveal will shock me. Nothing you surrender will cause me to turn away. I already know, and I am still here.
My child, many people spend years carrying guilt that I already forgave. They continue punishing themselves for things that I have already offered to remove. They continue living in chains even after the prison door has been opened. Do not be one of them. The purpose of conviction is not destruction. The purpose of conviction is restoration. I reveal the problem because I desire healing. I expose the wound because I desire recovery. I shine light into darkness because I want you to walk in freedom. That is why I am speaking to you today. Not to remind you how bad you are, but to remind you how good my mercy is. Not to focus on your failures, but to focus on my forgiveness. Not to leave you in shame, but to lift you into hope. My beloved child, the greatest sin is not always the mistake itself. Sometimes the greatest sin is believing the lie that my grace cannot reach you. That lie has kept many people trapped, but it does not have to keep you trapped. Look at me, not at your past. Look at my mercy, not at your mistakes. Look at my promises, not at your fears. Because the story of your life is not defined by the worst thing you have done. It is defined by what I am able to do with a surrendered heart. And I tell you now with all the love of heaven, your failure is not the end of your story. Your guilt is not the end of your story. Your struggle is not the end of your story. My forgiveness is greater. My mercy is greater. My love is greater. And if you will trust me, I can restore what you thought was lost forever. My beloved child, now that you have heard my voice, the question is no longer whether I am willing to forgive you. The question is whether you are willing to receive that forgiveness. Many people ask me for mercy, but continue carrying the weight of their guilt. Many ask me to forgive them, but refuse to forgive themselves. Many pray for freedom, but keep returning to the chains I already offered to break. I do not want that for you. I did not bring you here simply to remind you of your struggles. I brought you here to remind you that freedom is possible. The enemy wants you trapped in yesterday. I am calling you into tomorrow.
The enemy wants you focused on every failure. I want you focused on my grace. The enemy wants you to believe that nothing can change. I want you to know that transformation begins the moment you surrender completely to me. My child, there is no future in constantly reliving your worst moments. There is no healing in endlessly reopening old wounds. There is no peace in carrying burdens that I have already offered to carry for you. You were not created to live under the weight of endless shame. You were created to walk in truth. You were created to walk in faith. You were created to walk in the freedom that comes from knowing you are loved. Not because you are perfect, but because I am merciful.
Think about how much time you have spent condemning yourself. How many nights have you replayed your mistakes? How many times have you told yourself that you should have known better? How many times have you wished you could go back and change the past? But my child, the past cannot be rewritten. What can change is the person you become because of it. I can take your deepest regret and turn it into wisdom. I can take your greatest failure and turn it into testimony. I can take the very thing that once brought you shame and use it to help others find hope. That is what my grace does.
It does not merely cover the past. It redeems it. It transforms it. It gives purpose even to painful chapters. Nothing is wasted when it is placed in my hands. Not your tears, not your struggles, not your failures, not even the seasons you wish had never happened. I am able to bring beauty from ashes, hope from despair, strength from weakness, and new life from what seemed beyond repair. That is why I am asking you today to stop running. Stop hiding. Stop believing that your story is over. Stop listening to the voices that tell you there is no way back. There is always a way back to me. Always. No matter how far you think you have wandered, no matter how long you have been away, no matter how many mistakes stand behind you, my arms remain open. My mercy remains available. My love remains unchanged. And today, I am inviting you to take a step toward me. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Bring me your guilt. Bring me your fear. Bring me your hidden struggles. Bring me the sin that has weighed down your heart, and leave it at my feet. You do not have to carry it any longer. My beloved child, hear this truth and never forget it. Your sin is real, but my forgiveness is greater. Your mistakes are real, but my mercy is greater. Your past is real, but my love is greater. And if you place your trust in me, I will lead you into a future that is no longer controlled by what happened yesterday. Lift your head, take a deep breath, and walk forward knowing that you are not abandoned. You are not rejected. You are not beyond redemption. You are loved. You are called. You are forgiven. And the moment you truly believe that, everything begins to change. If this message spoke to your heart, type Amen below. And remember, the God who revealed your greatest sin is the same God who offers complete forgiveness.